I'm going to invite to the stage Bob Watson for an interview where, well, we are approaching the Best Overall Developer Portal of the Year 2025 award, and as well as that secret surprise award that we are going to give away here, what that actually is. But first, hi, Bob. Was there anything that surprised you this year as a juror compared with what you expected going in, and you had very well-based expectations since you were following the award as a juror from its inception? So was there something that like surprised you, like, that's new, I didn't expect that?
Every time I do this, I'm always surprised. I think that's what I enjoy most, is the how am I going to be surprised this time, because it never fails to happen. It never fails. And what surprises me is how many different ways there are to create the right documentation site, and they're all different. And as a side gig, I teach API documentation, and so I need to say, like, this is what good documentation looks like. And back in the old days, it used to be simple. We could describe good documentation, follow these rules, and you win. But as you've seen this evolve over the years, there are so many more sites and there's so many more solutions for so many more customers that there's no one size fits all. And so each year, I'm always surprised by how many examples there are and how different they are, in how they approach their specific problem with their specific product. And the flip side of that is that for us jurors, that presents new problems. We think we have it all figured out from the last one, and then we get a new batch of sites that are just like, oh, okay, well, we need to rethink this because they're doing so many cool things differently. How do we normalize that and come up with a score? And so that in itself offers its own kind of excitement by way of surprise, because then I get to work with all the jurors to see how we can approach this innovation and come up with a winner. But as a teacher, I think the best part is that I now have a new set of examples I can show my students to say, okay, well, here are a bunch of different ways to solve the problem for customers. So start from the best practices, but look at how these different sites have kind of expanded beyond that to address their customers in the way that works best for them, so that they can then be empowered to think beyond the best practices and come up with a solution that works in their specific situation.
And then this comes out very sharply in that conversation that we scheduled, I think, 2 hours for this year to choose the best overall developer portal. Excuse me.
Sorry, I lost you. Did I?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Kati can hear me. Bob, can you hear me?
Can you try again? I'm sorry.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now? So this also never fails. Any video call. In any
you
video.
Can hear Laura, but I can't. Oh dear. That's...
So in the meantime, allow me to tell a bit of like orchestrational Brexit. Okay, some orchestrational parts. So the best overall developer portal is chosen from the award winners, and this is always a very heated discussion. We, just like Bob said, going into this choice, well, you have 5 award winners. Of course, it's going to be easy to choose the one that is going to be the best overall developer portal of the year. No, This year, once again, it was there because, like Bob is saying, there are many ways to spread information or to share information with very specific audiences in an excellent way. And so one of the invisible lifts that the jurors do is to find and come to a consensus on the reason why they're naming one or another portal as an example to follow that year, because any award winner could have received the Best Overall Developer Portal Award, but they had to choose one, and they had to agree on a reason why they want to name that. And if you remember years back, I think 2 years back, Bob, you were very strongly advocating for technical writing as an art and science and profession being that reason. And now that brings me to the pleasure to reveal the surprise Developer Portal Award. Outside of the jury, we kept this a complete secret from everyone, including the nominees. They don't know about this. Bob, would you do the honors of telling what is this secret award category?
Oh, well, the so I think it's the writing, the reference topic writing, is that it?
Yes. So there was
Oh.
even on the naming, best written API reference topics.
Yeah, it's so secret that even I had to check to make sure I had it right. Yeah, no, reference topics and I go way back, and that's been a favorite subject of mine and study of my academic research. And I think they're sort of the unsung heroes of API documentation. When I worked in technical writing shops, it's like, well, we have these 15, 20 topics to get people started and get some tutorials, and we have these 500 API functions to document. So the volume is intimidating. And then the disadvantage of having so many reference topics is that by individually they don't get a whole lot of views, and so it looks like nobody's reading them. And so it's like, oh, this would be a great thing for automation because nobody's reading them, nobody, and there's so many of them. We'll just automate that so that boom, problem solved. But that's solving for the wrong problem. Because these are the reference topics that I consider the getting finished topics. We focus on getting started and time to hello world and all that, and that's great because you can't finish until you get started. But the reference topics are what typically have the secrets, that one piece of information you need to get over get past that last obstacle to have your successful launch and things like that. And so the writing in the reference topics is especially important because that has to speak to someone who's under pressure, because if they're trying to launch their product, that's always a somewhat pressure tension-filled experience, and they have to have they have to speak to a context that they can't predict, because for everyone that gets started, you end up with a whole bunch of different destinations. And so they really have a lot of heavy lifting to do. And so that's why having good writing in those content, and that's, I think, demonstrates understanding the developer customer who's going to be using that. And, with the empathy of saying, okay, we know things are tough, and, we'll help you get through it with clear and friendly writing and content that will solve their problem. And so you have to understand what problems those could be in order to solve them. And then for as many topics as there are, that problem, or to address that problem, you really can't put a template on it. You can't just say, well, we'll just have these aspects of it. We'll have the signature and the properties, and we'll be done, because that avoids the context that the developers are going to be in. So when I see well-written reference topics, it's like hearing good music almost. It's like they get it. They're talking to me. They know what I need. And so I think that's as a writer, I think good writing's an important skill to have anyway. But in that context, I can feel the connection. I'm not just being given a dictionary and told to figure it out. I have someone speaking to me, and so it doesn't happen often enough. But when it does, and I think this was what you're referring to a couple of years ago. I said we really got to bring this out, because this is what takes already good content and demonstrates it's at the next level. And with AI, I think that's even more important, because that's the content that the AI gets its intelligence from. And so if you can feed good content and good writing into that, then your AI experience and just your regular old school looking it up experience are both going to improve as a result. So yeah, so I could go on, but like I said, I think that just shows that they care about my success, because they're speaking to me, and I think that that message comes through with the good writing.
And what emerged as a top scoring docs portal successfully presented the entire endpoint conversation overview, value proposition, and all the detailed property descriptions on one single navigable page. And this became the pivotal decision point, as far as I recall. But so from a professional standpoint, as a technical writer, why is executing on this progressive disclosure model successfully on a single page such a significant achievement? Why is this non-trivial?
Well, it's non-trivial because you kind of have to look at from top to bottom. So it's a much broader perspective than just the kind of narrow focus of reference topics. And it's not something that's going to work for everybody. But in this case, they did it well, and it's one of those things where it just jumps out and said, I didn't see that one coming. And but the key, I think, to the design that they approached, to the document design, was that it spoke to the people, exploring the API for the first time. So they have the value proposition at the top and use cases, but then they have the API reference right there next to it to kind of back that up. So it's not just marketing copy. This is actually technical stuff that they're showing me here and backing it up right afterwards. At the same time, for the developer who's trying to get over that last hurdle to get to the finish line, they provide the context of the API and kind of the use case right next to the API reference. So even as you're up to your neck in all the details you're trying to juggle to figure out which one isn't playing well with the others, you have this high-level sense of to give you the context in case you find you've really gone down a rabbit hole and you're looking for the details, but then you have this use case that says, oh, maybe it's not here because it doesn't say it's going to do that, so I can look someplace else. And so having that, you don't normally see that. Usually those topics are, miles apart. You have the use case content, near the introduction where you're getting to know the API, and the reference topics, 3 clicks down into read our reference topics, because it's way past the use case information. And so those two never you wouldn't stumble across them both at the same time without a lot of effort. But here, it worked really well in this example for how they were just, you had the right information in the right place. And so I thought they approached solving that problem quite well. And again, like I said at the beginning, there's so many ways to do the right thing, that this might work. It works great for the winner, might not work for you. I was looking at this yesterday trying to figure this out. So I said, well, let's try some other APIs I worked on. It's like, nah, they're too big, they're too many. This isn't the right fit for that. There's other ways to solve that problem. But for them, it's the right thing, and I think that should be, highlighted so that, maybe we'll see more of those. And I'm curious about what Mike said earlier about how the big topics would confuse the AI by having too much stuff that the AI would. I think he was saying that the AI would get lost. I'll have to talk to him later and explore that. But I think in this case, it might actually help the AI because of how they organized it. So again, it's one of those things. If you do it right and it's the right thing for you, then it's the magic will happen. And so, whether the magic happens or not, they won the prize, and so that's that's pretty magical.
So here's another completely different example that you will look at, and I think we have created so much suspense, and maybe the portal that actually did this kind of documentation, they already know that we're talking about them, but nobody else. So. But let me pull this a little bit longer, this suspense. And first, I'm going to announce the best overall developer portal of the year. And after that, the portal that gets the surprise best written API reference topics. Thank you very much, Bob, also for taking the jury panel through that finish line. And I hope to see you at the next awards program as well, because this wouldn't be the same awards without